where you're joining from, and also too to explore a little bit, does your workplace have guidelines or policies related to respect? Okay. So given that it's you, Dwayne,
Okay, yeah,
does your workplace
I was typing, but
okay,
I'll speak on it.
okay,
But yes, Dwayne Frankson. I'm joining from Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, my workplace does have policies in place around uh respecting each other, respecting our clients, our customers, and each other. Yeah.
okay. And so what would you say are some key things in those guidelines? What type of words, or if there is certain behaviors or actions that they reinforce?
I think if I had to sum it up in a overall theme, it
Mhm.
really is just about considering that there are other perspectives
Okay.
and being sensitive to that. I guess is
Okay.
how I would describe it. Yeah.
Okay.
At the same
Excellent.
time, there's a firmness as well. I mean, I think that it's clear that they're trying to demonstrate that there's a non-tolerance
Okay.
of certain behaviors.
Hmm.
And I really think that's more about trying to make sure that uh, in the event they end up in some type of action litigation or something, that it's kind of a preemptive defense that they have it on paper.
Okay.
This is their position.
Okay. So a consideration of other perspectives, but a sense of not everything will be accepted, right? Because not all behaviors are accepted, or legal, right? Or compliant in some way.
Precisely.
Okay.
Precisely.
Okay. Excellent.
And that's a
Okay.
good word. That's a good word. Compliance, because that's how I would say they read. They read as if they're making sure that they're compliant.
Compliance. Okay. So I appreciate that you said that. I appreciate you said both, considering other perspectives, but that also that we are in compliance related to probably laws and procedures that are associated with the state or with the government. Um, but what we're going to explore a little bit deeper is sort of um, that in between, right? Of considering other perspectives, but going beyond just being compliant, but also having a greater understanding of the individual differences that may exist in your workplace or your work team. Okay. So a little bit more about
Absolutely.
me. As I said, I'm Greta Okomo. And so I'm the founder and CEO of Collaborative Change Consulting. My background is in higher education administration, and nonprofit organizations in which I led leadership development and diversity and inclusion initiatives, in particular related to retention and advocacy and educational development of underrepresented populations. And so, given that I've worked at many different universities and colleges, different sizes, different leadership styles, it really allowed me to understand the importance of understanding cultural differences, but also the importance of sort of those core interpersonal issues that may derail an organization or a team from being effective. So, my work really focuses on that. So, I coach leaders to be more collaborative, inclusive, and strategic in implementing cultural change, in particular, help you build trust, maximize strengths of your team, and address core interpersonal challenges. As I said before, I've seen great initiatives and leadership get derailed because of things like respect, right? And misunderstandings around respect, around communication, around trust, around, you know, delegation, and just those interpersonal issues that sometimes we don't realize is at the core of why something isn't working. And one of those key things is respect, and why I wanted to do this session today, because I've seen where people truly just don't understand each other, and understanding sort of the nuances and context of who somebody is and what respect looks like to them, right? Where somebody can be greatly offended by what someone did, and the other person has no idea, like no idea that it was disrespectful. Or even if they get the sense that, okay, you didn't like what I did, they don't have a deeper understanding of maybe the level of disrespect or offense that person feels, and how much that is a barrier now and how they work together because they don't understand the cultural context of it, right? And maybe someone's background or personal experiences. So I really wanted to focus on that today. And so what we're going to do today is kind of to explore the concept of respect and how respect is defined. Because a lot of times with the term respect, we just go, oh yeah, you respect somebody. Yeah, respect. Everybody knows what that is, but we don't really kind of look deeper into how do you define that? What does that mean to you? Okay, review how respect impacts workplace culture, explore how culture, personal experiences, and intercultural communication styles impact perceptions about respect, which is key. How do we communicate with one another? And also review strategies to foster respect in the workplace. So like I said before, what we're really going to do is kind of have a discussion. I want this to be interactive. Like I said, if it was more people, I like to get a lot of feedback and have a conversation about this, because the goal is that you go back into your team or workplace and really start to have these conversations of, how are we maybe missing each other, and do we have a good grasp of what respectful behavior means to everyone on our team or at our organization. Okay.
Okay.
So any thoughts before I move forward?
No, I think that I'm looking forward to this presentation, this conversation.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Okay. So respect. How do you define it? And so I looked up definitions of respect and really wanted the like textbook definition, Merriam-Webster, dictionary definitions, right? And so what I noticed is there's sort of two themes going on with respect. It's sort of an aspect of it being earned and an aspect of it being sort of like a common or foundational um you know behaviors extended to someone because they are out of human courtesy, I guess, common courtesy. Okay, so the first one says a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. And that's in Merriam-Webster. So if we look at that, that's kind of focusing on respect needs to be earned, right? They do say qualities, but it's abilities and achievements. So you're doing something, and they said elicit, you're doing something to get someone to respect you in a sense. Okay. The second definition is due regard for the feelings, wishes, rights, or traditions of others. And that's also Merriam-Webster. So this one is kind of going more into maybe just, I respect you as a person because you're a person and you are due respect, right? Because it focuses on their feelings, wishes, rights, or traditions. And also it's thinking about being a bit empathetic, right? It sounds like they're saying, I respect kind of who you are, right? And traditions of you. It may not be mine, but I respect yours, right? So that's a little different than being earned. And then the last one is from Urban Dictionary, having an understanding and consideration for each other as having the same basic human dignity. So that one comes out and just says it, just like it's a basic human dignity that I show you respect. And that one kind of reminded me of I don't know if Dwayne, do you remember the first Avatar movie?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
Okay, and so the
The-
blue people, the Na'vi, how they would greet each other is "I see you," right? That's how they
I
would
think
greet.
that, and I actually think that's based off of, well, a lot of stuff in the movie is based on African culture, but yeah,
Yeah. And so to me, that's what it reminded me of. Like, I see you, meaning um I respect you. I respect your presence, right? And I appreciate you just being here, being a person. And it seems to me that's what that definition is. So there's two sort of like understandings here, right? Or themes, earned respect and sort of given respect, right? Out of like human courtesy. Okay.
yeah. I mean, I think arguably that Merriam-Webster,
Mm,
the word that stands out for me in that second definition is due.
yeah, yeah,
So it kind of implies to me that there's some discretion on the part of who's giving it, you
yeah.
know, and so just between Merriam-Webster and Urban Dictionary, I think that's kind of like where the difference lies.